Yay. Okay. So that's for the people that are coming in a little late or have to miss a class. You can always catch up on the recording. So I know a couple of you are driving. You can't talk right now. Just give me like thumbs up if you're doing okay. Is everyone doing okay? We made it to Wednesday. Tomorrow's a holiday. There you go. Thanks, Mary. Only one person is okay. Andrea's okay. I can see her. Yeah. She's got two thumbs up. Everyone else is horrible. Just Andrea, Anush. There you go. Okay. I'm like, that's not good. That's not good at all. All right. So, we ran out of time on Monday to finish day one. So I will start with a review of memos. Okay. So that's what we'll do. And then today we actually get into the letter writing, like the parts of a letter. And again, this is very formal, right? This is a formal class. If you ever have a job where you have to put a formal letter together or a formal memo together, this is going to help you. Not everybody is going to have to do this. Okay. On your jobs, you may not have to do this. Most of you have been in employment strategies. Obviously, do a formal letter, don't we? We do a cover letter. That's formal. So, at some point in your career, you'll have to put things like this together. So if it's not part of your everyday job, still pay attention because you never know, when you are going to need it. So we'll finish up what we started talking about Monday. I'll kind of remind you about what assignments. Hi, Carl. Glad you could get in. Yay.
Sorry, I'm glad to be here.
Yes. So, just so you know, Carl, everyone, this is Carl. He's joining our class. I have a waiting list for this class. And what I did this morning is I dropped students who didn't show up Monday and who didn't contact me, hoping you just be able to pop in once it's got a cap, but it didn't happen. So I was trying to let you and the person in number one pop into class, but it didn't work. So after so whatever I share in class today, you can't see it yet. You can't get into Canvas yet, unfortunately, because you're not an enrolled student. But as soon as our class ends at 10, I'm going to contact our business office and see if they can manually put you into the classroom. So then you have access to everything. Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Are you familiar with Canvas already?
No,
Okay.
I know that it exists, but I'm not. I just began as a student, so.
Oh, well, welcome
Yeah.
to our campus and our program.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's great to have you here. I'm Cindy, by the way.
All right, nice.
So very nice to meet you. So I'll even maybe after class is over, Carl, if you can just hang out for a minute, I'll walk you through Canvas a little bit because we did this on Monday. So I don't want to repeat the process for the students that were here, but I'd be happy to give you some extra time just to kind of show you around.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Show you around our classroom, right?
Right,
It's really our classroom. So anyway, yeah, hi Liana, nice to see your face. Great to have everybody here. Welcome Nazeli and Karen. Good morning. Oh, to Liana, sorry. Liana G, I had seen already. Liana M saying hello to.
Yes.
Liana G, be careful. I get so nervous when people are driving and their videos on. So just listen.
Thank you.
You're very
Good
welcome.
morning, Miss Cindy.
Good morning, Karen. You know what's so funny, Karen? I have to tell you this because this morning, so just so you all know, right now I'm teaching 3 classes at GCC, and some of you are in the various classes. So Karen is in my human resources class on the Verdugo campus. And I almost in one of your posts today said, hi, nice Karen. And then I realized the HR class doesn't have that joke. Just we have that joke here in this class. So I thought it was really funny that I naturally referred to you as nice Karen in the wrong class. So I have to be careful because I don't think we did it in HR, right? We just did it, yeah, in this one. So, so I stopped myself mid sentence because the rest of our class would say, "Why is she calling her nice Karen?" And for those of you just joining today, Karen, unfortunately, that name has a connotation now. Kids use it as a joke. Stop being such a Karen, right? Just one of those in your face people. And poor Karen has the name already. So we call her nice Karen to make sure that we don't confuse her with the Karen terminology that's out there right now. So, all right, let me stop babbling and share my screen. Here we go. So this is these are the modules. And again, Carl, I'll show you this after class. I'll show you where I am and how to access this by the time you have access. So just a reminder, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make so I can see you all. Sometimes when I share my screen, I lose my students, and I don't like that at all. Okay, I can see some of you, not everybody. If you need my attention because I can't see all of you, use the raise hand in Zoom so you jump to the top of my screen, because sometimes when I share screen, I can't see everybody. And once I get that notification, I'll call on you. So in the getting started module, you did have an assignment. The first part was due yesterday, Tuesday. And I just want to remind you that you must respond to 2 classmates by the end of the day tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's a holiday, so I don't expect you to be in the classroom. So if you do this for me by Friday, that would be great. So, just the instructions say respond to 2 classmates by Thursday. Don't worry about it. It is July 4th. You're not going to be in classes. You don't have to be in the classroom unless you want to be. But the letter to your future self, I have to tell you, for those of you that have already submitted, how special it was to read them. It was obviously, you probably figured this out. The exercise is for you, right? It's for you to believe in yourself and to say, hey, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, things will be different. Things will be different. 5 years from now, whatever your time frame is. So it's been really nice for me to read, what you're telling yourself, what your future is going to be. I really think I should hold a little reunion 10 years from now and have everybody come back and say, so did it happen? Sarkis, do you have your own business? Sveta, how are you doing? Like, I want to see all of these dreams, come to reality. But if you didn't get a chance to do that yesterday, make sure in this class, by the way, I'm not going to take off points for being late. It's totally, if you're running late, you're fine as long as you catch up, before the class ends in 3 weeks. Yeah, Liana, go ahead. I see your hand.
I had a question. I'm sorry for interrupting. I submitted the assignment, but I'm not sure was that the right place or not. If you can see, will you check up, please?
I will. Without showing everybody's.
Because I couldn't see any other assignments in order to respond for 2 of them.
No. Where do you think you put it, Liana?
In assignments, but
Well, it's discussion. It's a discussion. So our letter to future self, this is done by hitting, hold on, don't want to make you guys dizzy. It's by hitting reply. And then
I'm just here.
What?
we had to write in here, in this place, in
Yes, in discussion. It's a discussion assignment. So you put your letter in the discussion and then
Okay.
you reply to two students.
Okay, I see. I'll
That's
do
why
it
you
today.
can't, yeah, that's why you can't.
Yesterday I couldn't find it, that's why. Okay, thank
Aw.
you. I'll redo
Yeah,
it.
you know why? Because it's at the top, it's under getting started. So it's not in module 1. It's not here. It was up at the top.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe that's why you couldn't see it.
okay, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you see where it is now, Liana? Do you see it's under our getting started module? Okay. And
Okay,
it's
I find now.
perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank
Okay,
you for the question. Were there other
thank you.
questions about the letter to yourself in the getting started module? And just as a reminder, and Carl, for you to know, the modules open in order. No, actually, I changed it. Never mind. You can get into anything. Ignore what I was saying. Delete my comment, right? Delete my voicemail. So you should see it up here. And it will have a due date of July 2nd, which was yesterday. But like I just said, if you still have to respond to two classmates by tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Friday, I'm not going to take off points for late submissions. So please, again, I want to reiterate that. I'm not going to penalize you. Let me check chat real quick. Oh, good. I got some hearts. There we go. I like making people happy. Okay. So then we had that was your letter. Then on Monday, we did have an assignment that was that I didn't really get into yet. So I'll talk about that today. But we had classwork. We were supposed to do this during class, right? So I gave you the opportunity again. Here, let me show you this. Let me put on my glasses. Sorry, can't see. Topic, letter. Yeah, this was class. So we had these we had the Lauren Wolf example, Ann Schaefer and Eric Bloom. And in the classroom, you were putting the headings, right? All we were doing was putting the headings in our Canvas, in our discussion. Again, it's a discussion. So you're going to hit reply. You're not going to use the submit button, right? That's for assignments. This is a discussion. So we were just learning about how to format memos, and then people put their answers here, right? And if you submitted, I issued you a grade already. Some of you were not able to do this while we were in class. You may be on a phone or a tablet, so it didn't allow you to be in Canvas and trying to do all of these things at the same time. It got a little bit complicated. So make sure you go back and do that, because it is worth points. So anytime you see an assignment that has points on it, that's something that you'll have to go back in and do. Okay, so let me show you where that one was. It was day 1 letters, and it was called classwork. And we sort of started it while we were in the class and people were inputting that information. But if you did not get a chance to do that, make sure that you go back and do that. Okay. Any questions about that one? Okay, just want to make sure. So those were sort of, I'm going to close some, since we don't have any questions, I hear crickets. I'm going to close some of my tabs because I have a lot open. Okay, this is the assignment that's due. All right, let me go back to modules. So in day 1, there was also an assignment. I didn't go through it yet. However, some of you already completed it. So great. Some of you have already received a grade on this. So let me show this one to you. This isn't due until today. But you are going to use a proper memo format and retype the information below. Okay. So what I did here is, basically attached this paragraph that's written sloppily, right? There's errors in it. It doesn't look right. It's very hard to read. So I want you to set this up in memo format. And we'll review memos in a second. So you're going to have the date, the heading, the body of the email. The body of the memo. We didn't go into the body on Monday. We're going to do that today. But that is an assignment that is due. Again, some of you jumped ahead and you've completed this already. So great. If you haven't, just keep it in mind. It is, let me go back. It is also worth 5 points. So remember, all the points at the end, you have to have a certain amount of points to be able to get the certificate. All right. Questions? Just on day one, that's kind of where we left on the assignments. So what I'm going to do right now is finish the PowerPoint. So we got through most of the PowerPoint. I'll finish it up this morning. And then we're going to jump into day 2. So that did open today in Canvas for you. So it released on today, Wednesday. So you should be able to see all of this as well. Okay. So by the end of the week, you will have completed day 1, day 2, and then next Monday, day 3 opens. So not everything opens right away. It goes by the date. And it will tell you at the bottom, it will say this unlocks July 8th. Okay, so just so you know, if you're saying, Cindy, how come I can't get into module 3? Sargis, go ahead.
Thank you. Here, Professor, I see that there is not the grade section in our Canvas, so we cannot see your grades.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm going to fix that right now. I shared with you on Monday, Rosemary put this class together, and the teachers can always show what they want you to see. You should be able to see your grades. So let me fix that briefly, if you don't mind. Just give me 1 second. I didn't want to bore
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for telling me. Thank you so much. That's important. Where are the grades? And once I finish, refresh your screen, and you should be able, make sure it's saved. Yeah, it's appearing now on my side. So could you look, Sargis, refresh your,
Yeah. I see it
okay.
already. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks tons for that. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's kind of finish up with memos. We are, if you're able to open up a little, if you're open, one day I will be able to talk, I promise. If you're able to open up another tab in Canvas, we're actually going to take a little quiz together. Thank you, James, for sharing in my humor, my self-deprecating humor. We'll take a quiz together. This is more for fun. It's not fun. It's a review of memos, but it's not worth points. So if you can't do it, don't worry about it, right? We'll do it as a class. You don't have to go back into Canvas and do it. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. And please jump in if you have any questions from Monday, maybe as you were doing your homework, you had a question that came up that you wanted me just to clarify. So this was the classwork in Canvas. These were the date, to, from, subject for the different scenarios that was in our classroom. So these were the answers. So you could have gone into Canvas and looked at opened our PowerPoint and been able to actually put these together. Now, this, like I said, this class was created by somebody else. I did share my personal, what I teach, and most of you have been in my other classes. What I teach is not to use Mrs. or Mr. So I did say that on Monday. I'm going to reiterate that because I noticed that a lot of Rosemary's slides, they do have Mr. or Ms. First of all, in business, we never use Mrs. We use Ms., MS, right? So I'm always you never refer to a female as a Mrs., even if they're married. And that's because a Mr. doesn't change whether they're married or not. Because I work in human resources, that's my main job. We don't use these titles at all anymore. It's all general neutral. So if you send this to Miss Kathy Richards, because Kathy is a female name and she identifies as they, them, you've just offended her. So again, maybe what I share in class will be a little bit different than what Rosemary has put together. It's only because I work in HR that I'm very aware. We do so much diversity training now. We have to be really careful. So when you're in business, when you're at work, everyone, if you are going to put something together, please make sure, I would recommend you're not using Ms. or Mr. I would recommend you just use first and last name. So for example, I would say Kathy Richards, sales manager, Eric Bloom, sales representative. Okay, so that's how I personally would do it, unless they have a DR in front of their name. So if they are a doctor, we have a couple students in class who have their doctorates. I have my doctorate. We would always want to use a DR, right? Those that work in the medical field, for a medical doctor, you're always going to use DR. So you do use that title, but otherwise we're general neutral here. There is one thing I wanted to point out that I didn't talk about on Monday. Normally, we would alphabetize. If there's more than one person, we're going to alphabetize, correct? So for example, Bloom, by last name, Bloom should come before Richards because B comes before R. However, in this case, it was prioritized by title. So you can list names either in alphabetical order by last name or by title. Because a manager is higher in ranking than a representative, in this memo, they're listed first because they wanted to recognize that they're a manager. Does that make sense, everyone? Thumbs up if I can't see your wonderful faces. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's important because Sargis, did you have a question, or were you trying to do a thumbs up, but you accidentally raised your hand?
Yes, you said correct. I just accidentally raised my
Okay,
hand.
I know these buttons in Zoom, it can get confusing. So, all right. Okay. Any questions? Those are your answers to this was the assignment that was due during class, but everybody couldn't get into class. I mean, couldn't get into Canvas. Yes, Anna, go ahead.
Teacher, about number 3, it was hard to recognize. It's like about president, Tom Hanks president. I just mentioned this one because I didn't sure. Maybe he just work with president and wanna give congratulations from president.
So that's his
little bit.
that's his title, Anna. That's his job.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, I see right now. But when I read exercise, for me, it was not so clear.
oh, okay. Okay. I understand. I understand. Yes. Yeah. So that was his. Did you think it was like the president of a country or
Uh,
something?
No. I think like Tom Hanks just work with president like
Oh,
secretary and wanna give to Katie this information, not like he
oh, okay.
president.
I understand. I understand. And you'll notice, everyone, when you submitted your discussions, I made some comments. It doesn't matter whether it's all a learning experience. So I give you points no matter what. So Anna, if I think I corrected yours already.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Sure. But no, thank you for saying that, because it can get a little bit confusing. So, all right. By the way, I also did not cover this on Monday. These headings, they're kind of headings. They're also referred to as guide words. That in chat, everyone. Guide words. So they're the same as your headings. So if you ever hear someone say, what are the guide words? It just means your to, your from, your date, your subject. That's what the guide words are. It's just a different terminology for it. And does anybody remember, sometimes instead of the word subject, what did they have there instead? Do you remember there was one more thing we could use instead of subject? RE, regarding or in reference to. So sometimes instead of subject, it will say regarding or reference to. So those are interchangeable. It means the same thing. It's just telling you what it is. All right. Let's do some new things. So here is your body of your letter. So you have the heading, and then you have the body. This is your content. So if you're congratulating somebody, like our last slide showed, now you're going to tell the group what it was for. So we saw that it was for a contract, but now we're going to get into more detail. What are the specifics? Are memos short, or are they really long? Is this going to be like 6 paragraphs long, do you think? No, thank you, Carl. No, not at all. And I don't want to make you dizzy, but give me a second. Close your eyes or look away, because I'm going to scroll up really fast. Okay, go ahead and look. We had several samples in this PowerPoint presentation. It's very short, right? The body is just a couple paragraphs, and they're short paragraphs. So if a memo isn't, letters will be longer. It could be longer, but memos are pretty short. So we don't want to put that. Oh, thanks, Mary. I just saw your chat. Look away again, everyone. I'm going to scroll quickly through our PowerPoint, and I'll get you, Anna, in 1 second. I just don't want to make anybody. Okay, go ahead and you can look again. Yes, Anna.
And it's usually just one page, yes?
Yes.
Because it's easy print and give to another people.
Correct. It's usually 1 page. Now it can be 2 pages. And if it is 2 pages, and I didn't teach this, but if it is 2 pages, you don't copy everything over to that second page. It's just a continuation. So you don't have to start all over with that second page. You might have a number on there. In fact, the quiz is going to address this in a second, so I'll show you. But yeah, it's ideally memos are short. I mean, they're 1 page, a couple paragraphs. Once in a while, especially if I'm introducing, this just happened at my company. They were introducing a new not a software, so a program that we were going to use at work. And so one page was the introduction of why we're using this. And, you know, from as of August 1st, this is what you all need to do. Page 2 had instructions. So they did have to do a page 2 because it's going to tell us, okay, go to this next page so that you can learn how to access this program or utilize this program. So, but that was a good point. Yeah, that was a good point. All right. So a couple differences here from the letter and a memo. So the body is usually the same, right? So this would be a memo, right? And you always know it's a memo, to, from, date, right? Well, letters have dates, but you're going to see a letter would never say to or from, right? A memo will. So the body is usually the same, right? It's in the same place. The difference is with the memo, there's no salutation. You know, I'm never saying, dear so-and-so in a memo, right? Because whoever it's going to, it's up here already, right? So if I send it to Andrea, it's going to say Andrea up here. So down here, I'm not going to say dear Andrea, not on a memo. On a letter, I would. Here's the RE. Remember I said sometimes if it doesn't have subject, it will say RE and then a little a colon there. So whoops, sorry. And it also, there's no signature line at the bottom like we do for letters. Do I have to do something though next to my name? Person who's sending it? Not a signature. What was it? What do I have to do? If I'm writing the memo, what do I need to do?
Initial.
Initial it. Yes. So I still need to initial. I'm not signing Cindy Pollock, but I could say CP. So I do put my initials there. Yeah, Andrea.
Teacher, thank you so much. Teacher, is still the are still the memos useful a lot in the companies or the university? I don't know, because in my field, for example, that you know that I used to work in technology. The memos is not common. Maybe in the past, but not right now.
Yes. I'm so glad you asked the question because we had talked about that on Monday. Like, why are we still teaching letters and memos? They are used, but they're usually emailed. So even at work, I'll still, like from the IT department, I just received a memo. So it wasn't an email saying, hello, everyone, we're using a new program. It was an actual memo. So it was an attachment through email. And I opened it up and it's a memo. Sometimes I've seen the memos formatted right in the body of the email. So we're not getting them by, you know, mail as often anymore, interoffice mail, which was what this was, right? This is interoffice mail. However, we get them mostly through email. Now, I will tell you, you know, as a manager, I sometimes get memos through an envelope like this, interoffice. It says, please post this. So I have to post it somewhere. So once in a while, you'll still even use the paper format. Yes, Carl, I see your hand.
Just a comment. I don't know if you've already gone over this, but it seems like the email is in some ways a combination of a memo and a letter. Like it's the hybridization of the two. Is that?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yes. Because even when we send, let's say, a cover letter to the employer or applying for a job, we're still writing a letter. We're still writing a resume. And then in the body of the email, please find attached my cover letter and resume. So yeah, it's sort of a hybrid where in, you know, the olden days we would mail things. But yeah, that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to actually, yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen these at work? These envelopes? Anybody? Carl, yes. Andrea, no?
No,
Wow.
teacher.
James, no? Wow. Anybody else? Talk to me. You've never seen, they're called inter-office. So it's mailing things between, just like a memo only goes to internal people, correct? It doesn't go external. Thank you, Angane. Thank you, Karen. I wouldn't believe it if nobody's ever seen this. So this is a great way. Oh, let me check chat. Sorry. Yes. Okay. No, Liana. Okay. Good to know. This is a way for us to send things to other people. And we actually do have people at work that deliver this still. It's called the mail carrier. So it's not taking mail from the outside. It's distributing this internally through your department. So I still check my mailbox at work. I do have these or my inbox, even in my office, you'll have these brown envelopes, and inside a letter, a memo, a notification. Sometimes my coworkers send me nice little gifts, like I'll get some candy or something, but they're really designed not for candy, they're designed for actual letters or memos. So we still do use these. And what's interesting, let me show you then, because this is kind of fun for me if you've never seen this, because when you do start your jobs, now you're going to know if you see one of these. There's a date. So let's say I put a letter together and I'm going to send it to Carl, or a memo. I wrote up a memo. Carl is one of our managers, and this memo lets him know that he's going to have to provide some information to his employees. So I'm going to date it today's date. I'm going to deliver first name, last name, and his department, right? So whoever's delivering knows it's going to end up in his inbox, his mailbox. When Carl's done, let's talk about the environment. He reuses this envelope. I wish I could write on this with my annotations. I'm so bad at annotations, everyone, so don't laugh at me. But Carl would cross off his information, right? So that way they know that this person has already received it. And then now he's going to use this envelope to send something, right, to someone else. So we just keep doing that over and over again until the entire envelope is used. By the way, it's two-sided. So, oops, sorry. It's two-sided so that I'm looking for my eraser. There's my eraser. Because if I don't erase this, it's going to keep traveling through Zoom. So we use these envelopes until we can't use them anymore. And sometimes people even print like something on a piece of paper. They print the same, they'll type up the same, I guess, columns and rows, and they staple it to the envelope. So we are trying to save the environment. So that's called an inner office envelope if you've never seen one before. They're kind of fun. This is why I like it. I get to see who all have received things in the company. You get to watch. It's kind of like getting a library book. If anybody remembers the libraries, they actually will tell you who checked out the book before you. This is the same thing. I get to say, oh, this just came from accounting, or before that it was marketing, or before that it was this. So it's kind of fun too. It's got a little bit of company history there. All right. Let me, is the date when it's sent? Oh, excellent. James, great question. The date is when you are sending it. So we can never know when the person's going to receive it, because what if it's not? What if I send it on Friday and the person doesn't get it till Monday, right? So we might not know. But that's a great question. It's the day that we actually send it yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the question. All right. All right. Templates. Going to take you into Microsoft Word here. So all of you, hopefully, you're taking classes here, you're familiar with Microsoft Word, or you're brushing up on your skills. A lot of you also know that Microsoft can be very helpful. It can provide pre-formatted templates for things, you know, PowerPoint presentations, or in Word, it can have pre-formatted letters, memos, things like that. So it's just another source for you if you don't want to start from scratch. So here's a link to the templates. I'll show you some examples in a second, but everything in PowerPoint, you're also able to see, right? You're also able to access. So it's a nice tool for you. So they're the pre-formatted, they're convenient, they're nice. Sometimes they're pretty. They have some landscaping on there that's really nice. And I just mentioned letters, but you can also, oh my gosh, Rosemary. Do you see faxes? Has anyone seen a fax machine lately? Oh, you have, Carl? Oh, I was laughing because I'm like, why does she have this in here? We don't use fax machines anymore, but maybe we do. But the old formatted facsimile sheets that we send faxes with, brochures, I've used those before in Microsoft. So there's a lot of different things that you can use in Microsoft. Yes, go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's also digital faxes now where you can never have a
Yes.
machine, but you send it similar to an email
Right,
for
exactly.
quite some time.
Yep, I've seen that before. I've never used it personally because I think the one I looked at, Carl, was going to make me pay for a fee, a service fee to fax it. So I decided no. Okay, let me share screen. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so here are some templates, right, on putting a memo together. So see, some of them are fun. Some of them have the company logo, but you could go back and change that. So if you ever need to use a template, you know, if you want to put a memo together, I did provide you with a link, or you can just look this up on your own. Canva also, of course, has templates for things. So, okay, let me go back to my PowerPoint. All right, very technical, but it's good to know how many spaces in between do we use when we're writing? If you can please let us. So Andrea, it's in Canvas.
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Or did you need me to send it right now in chat?
No. If
Yeah,
it's in Canvas, there's no problem, teacher.
Yes,
Thank you.
everything that you're seeing is in Canvas. It's in the PowerPoint from day one. So I'm still in day one's lecture. Yeah, so this
Yes,
is our
thank you.
PowerPoint. You're very welcome.
I downloaded
Perfect.
yes, thank you.
Perfect. So again, if you really want to look at the spacing in between a memo, this is technically how you space it out. I did mention the term guide words again to you this morning, and those are the headings, right? The to, from, date, etc. Okay. Body of the paragraph, obviously we're leaving some space between paragraphs. Not every memo has an enclosure or a copy notation, but you might include a copy of something or samples. Okay, so this is more just technicals. All right. This is your assignment that I showed you. Let me go back to Canvas, sorry. Now that we're done with day one. Day one was so fun, it just went by really fast. Okay, share. So day one, this was the assignment. So it just said I had showed it to you early this morning when we got into class. So how do you format a memo? And I had given you, I think I closed it already. I'm happy to open it up again if I have to. Yes, there it is. I didn't close it. It included a really bad paragraph. So I wanted you, just now that you've seen some samples, to kind of reformat, set up the heading, reformat that paragraph so the body reads nicely, correct any mistakes, and that you actually turn in through assignments. So Liana M., that is your assignment submission, not discussion. Liana, did you fall asleep? There she is. I was talking to you, Liana. I wanted to make sure you didn't fall asleep. So that one is the assignment. Yeah. Yeah. Are
I
you ta-
slept very late and woke up and
Oh.
I can't see.
Oh, do you want to sign off today and just listen to the recording?
No, I want to listen.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
I can participate, but I'm listen.
Sure. Sounds
I'm
good to
sorry
me.
for that.
No, I know how it is. And I have to tell you, when it gets really warm like this, it's hard to sleep, isn't it? Even with like air conditioning, if you have air conditioning, it's very hard to sleep. So,
Sure, I have.
yeah. All right.
Thank you.
So I was just letting you know that this is the assignment. It's you submit versus the discussion. And then Andrea, these are all the like links to our different memo types in Canvas, and this is the PowerPoint. So the PowerPoint has all of this in there. Okay, so everything that I showed on Monday and today. Let me look at chat briefly. Oh, sure, of course. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so let's move on to today. Don't let this scare you. I know when you look at all these assignments, you're like, ah, it's honestly, they're simple assignments. It's saying, okay, how do you start a letter? Submit it. How do you, where does the date go? Submit it. So it's more just helping you format the letter. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So some of this we'll do in class. So when you see 0 points, it just means we're going to discuss it. Okay. So you're not really submitting something. If it says 5 points, 5 points, that means that you are actually going to submit it and it's going to get a grade. It does say that you should do this in class. However, like I mentioned, like I discovered on Monday, a lot of you aren't able to open up tabs and do this live during class. You're going to have to do it later. So I really want to be respectful of that. I don't want to give some of you time to do it. Others, you don't have access maybe to a laptop. So I'm going to be very respectful there, but I will go through all of these. Again, you have handouts and you do have the PowerPoint for today, which I'm going to go through right now. Okay. Questions on day 2? Let me grab my chat. Oh, thank you. I just read a personal message. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Let me see what I am going to do right now. Let me stop sharing and find I had something fun to show you. And by the way, there are also links in that PowerPoint that go into, like, they're little YouTube videos. So if you didn't catch it when I was talking, or I didn't provide enough information, there are some YouTube videos that you can look at, and that those help as well with helping you learn. So here's what I want. We're going to take a quiz. I need your participation. Okay, make sure you can see it. Are you able to see it? Okay, are you, is it large enough? Yes? Yes, okay, I got some thumbs up. Thank you so much. All right, memos are a much more formal means of communication than letters. So do you think a memo is more formal or a letter is? What do you think? You can put it in chat. B, Yeah, that's correct, everyone. So we're going to get into business letters, but remember, memos are just between people in the same area, department, etc. So I think Karen accidentally unmuted. So let's see if that's right. Yes, memos have a less of a formal tone. Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's go on to the next one. What purpose does the first sentence of the body of the memo serve? So this is now where you're actually going to start writing, right? Does it, what do you think? Does it introduce the writer of the memo? Does it serve as a formal greeting? Does it tell the audience who to contact if they have questions? Or does it state the purpose of the memo? What do you think that first line in the body would be? Am I going to introduce myself in a body? No, because it's from is up above. Go ahead, Carl. What do you think?
Oh, I apologize. So just put it in the chat.
No,
Yes.
you can raise your hand. I love
I
participation.
was gonna say D.
It is exactly
Yeah,
D. Yeah,
purpose.
perfect. Yep, perfect. So yes, you can put it in chat. You can participate. I love hearing. Oh yeah, people are putting that. Excellent, excellent. So let's look at the next one. Which of the following statements is true in regards to spacing? So I did a very brief spacing thing there. So is the entire document double spaced? Do you think it's single spaced? Is everything double spaced except the paragraphs? Only the body paragraphs are double spaced. What do you think? Should it be consistent through the whole? Let me see what we're putting in chat. I don't know if this was our old one or if this was okay, good guesses, because I didn't really talk about this. It's actually C. So everything's going to be double spaced. So the to, from, dates, double spaced. But then when we get to typing the body, it's only single spaced, because otherwise that's going to be too much space. Good job, everyone. Memos are usually, this came up already in class, 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page.
On page.
1 page. Yes. Excellent. Almost done. Memos sometimes contain subheadings to signal a shift in topics. I did not talk about this, but when you're writing, oh, I'm going to give you the answer. What do you, let me have you guess first. What do you think? Can you have like, yeah,
I
everyone's
think
saying
it's true.
Yeah, it is true. It is true, because you might, it's like a paragraph, right? You might be going into a new topic. If a memo is more than 1 page, sometimes it can be, the second page should contain a page number, the date, the name of the recipient, or all of the above. What do you think?
All of the above.
Yeah, it's going to be all of the above. Let me see what everyone else is saying. Oh, different ones on this one. James, for some reason, you're sending me direct messages, so people can't see your, there you go. I put everyone. Awesome. Yeah, it's going to include all of this if it does go to that second page. And finally, an adjective to describe the memo: lengthy and in-depth, short, concise, detailed and formal, or verbose and succinct.
B is right. Short and concise.
Yeah, you guys agree? All right, 100%. Yay, thank you for participating. Excellent, excellent. All right, let's jump into letters. See what all the fun is, or see how fun they can be. And again, Andrea, to go back to your question in the beginning, is do we still use these at work? We do. Letters especially will go out to outside people. They're not necessarily internal communication. Memos will be internal. Letters will go out to clients, right? We send bills, we send notifications, we send all kinds of things to our customers, right? So that would be a formal letter. And then again, like I said earlier, because most of you have already been in that class, we did a formal cover letter, right? That's a formal letter. And Karen on Monday, it was funny, she said a resignation letter. If you resign from a company, you put together a letter. You don't just send an email saying, I quit, right? You actually present a formal letter. It can be sent by email, but it's still a formal letter. So we still use these, All right, let's go to our PowerPoint for day 2. And again, this is in Canvas for you. All right, we've already done the quiz. There are a couple extra YouTube videos. If you're just dying to learn more about memos, you can watch those on your own. All right, we've already done this. Okay, letters. So I'll ask it because a lot of you didn't use memos at work. Are you using letters at work? Is anybody responsible for putting letters together and sending them out to clients in this course? No? Oh, okay. Okay. Every industry will use this. So, you know, I have accounting professionals in here. You send out letters to your clients, medical, to patients, IT, some of your vendors, right? So it just depends on your background. Hey, Carl, what is your what's your work experience? What type of work did you do? I didn't get to ask you on Monday.
Actually, a lot of work experience, but I guess to make it simple, film production.
So you're in industry. Okay.
Yeah, but
So-
not in the administrative side, in the production. And
Got
so,
it.
yeah, I'd be
Got
a
it.
recipient maybe, but not a producer of a letter.
Sure. Okay. That helps me as well because I kind of got to know what everybody did, but that's perfect. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So let's look at this. What is letterhead? Have you heard the term before?
Well, letterhead's pre-printed, usually with a company logo or something. It saves having to put the return address usually.
Yeah, perfect. That's a great way to say it. So for example, this would be letterhead, right? It's exactly what Carl said. It's the name of the company, so you know who's sending it, who's putting it together. But it does save you time because the return, oh, thanks, James. Yes, the return address is already there. So you don't have to type that up. So very, very nice. The date line, sorry, is going to go right here, right? So the date now will be upper left-hand side. The inside address, an inside address is who it's going to. So now instead of saying to, from, date, you're not using those headings. You're just typing the person's name, their title, their address, company name, or address, right? So that's who it's going to. Then you have your greeting. This is really interesting. The word dear, it is always interesting to me growing up why we use, because dear can also be a term of endearment, right? And I know, you know, even some of my Armenian students, you use the term John, you know, like Cindy John, it's a term of endearment. But in this case, believe it or not, it's formal. We still start a letter with dear. So dear so-and-so. It's very interesting to me, just as somebody who's always used letters, that we've used that term. Then you have your body. In this case, this letter is short. However, letters can be longer. And then there's something called a complementary closing. This is how we sign off on a letter. And who remembers, those of you that took my employment class, how did we sign off on a cover letter? Before I put my name, what was my closing? Don't let me down, everyone.
Respectfully,
Nope.
sincerely.
Sincerely. Oh, James wrote it as well. Yes, we always use sincerely. So let me talk about this for a second. When you don't know people, when you have a closing on your letter, you really should use sincerely. However, every company has their own way of doing things. So you will notice as you start your jobs, when you receive letters, maybe you receive letters, you're going to see that change. For example, this company says, sincerely yours. So I would never do that in a cover letter. Whoever said respectfully, yes, there are some companies you sign off respectively, or truly, or kind regards, or best regards, or warm regards. Every company has its own way of closings when you're sending a letter, so to your clients or whoever. So you will need to find out what kind of closing they use. Yeah, Carl, go ahead.
One other comment, also every country will kind of have a traditional way that they might do it, at least in the English language.
Yeah. What have you noticed a difference? Have you been in other countries where you've noticed a different type of closing?
Well, I mean, just top of the list, maybe the UK is going to have a different style than the United States. And
They
then if
say
you went to
cheers, don't they?
Africa or somewhere that speaks English, but maybe it's a second language, they'll have definitely something different
Yeah.
there.
Good contribution there. And you can usually tell when somebody's, if they're from England, they sign theirs with cheers. To me, that's weird, right? To say cheers.
Yeah, I don't know about in a business setting for cheers, but they would for like informal.
Okay, more informal.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, it depends on how well the business
Or how they know,
relationship
how
is.
well they know the person too.
Yeah, or another one
Yeah.
that comes to mind would be Australia is going to be different than UK versus each will have a slightly
Ooh,
different
yeah.
tradition, I guess.
Interesting. Let me hear from the class well, I guess not everybody's. If you received a letter in your last jobs, if you received letters, do you remember how it was closed, how they closed on it? How they signed, did they use sincerely? Anybody? Karen?
Best regards.
Best regards. Okay. Anybody else, especially from outside the country? I'd be very curious. Ani, go ahead.
Maybe cardinally.
Cordially. Yes.
Cordially.
That's a good one. Cordially. Sargis.
As for about me, I used to write too, sincerely and best regards.
Best regards. Okay.
Yeah, those two
Yeah.
I used to write. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe I did like mistake, depends on whom I'm writing, but I used to do those two things.
Nope, that's perfect. No mistakes, because like I said, every company has their own way of closing. So that's why I was asking you in business if you ever received a letter at work, or you did write a letter at work, what closing did you have to use? Because everybody, yeah, best wishes, best regards. Thanks, everyone. Yours faithfully. Ooh, Tatovic. That's interesting. Wow. Go ahead, Sargis. Did I interrupt you?
Yeah, Professor. And if you are gonna send each other like daily 10 emails, so is it okay the same to keep the same rules officially, like inside address, deadline, letterhead?
Well, that would not go in the body of an email. You could do an attachment. You would set it up that way and send it as an attachment. But you actually don't write the letter in the body of the email with the to, from, It's always going to be an attachment. Does that help, Sargis?
No, I mean just
Oh.
if you are writing emails and they reply you, and you again reply them, and they again reply you. Every time, should I write all these things? I mean, keep the formal, like solution of greetings, body text, complimentary closing, inside
Well-
address, or
No, because it's an email, so you're not going to have any of that. In an email, what you're going to have is a signature line, and that's always going to be there. So it might already be set up to say sincerely. Remember, we can create our own email signature line, but you're not in an email ever going to have inside address. You might say dear, or it might be informal, like hi so and so, right? It could be informal. But you would never set this up in an email. You would never use this format in an actual email. Yes, and James, you're right.
thank you.
Our
Thank
school
you.
does have a business email class. So yeah, excellent. Okay. And then whoever is writing the email and their job, their title at work, and then their initials, like I mentioned. We initial a memo and a letter we can initial or actually sign. You know, we can use those signature fonts to sign. Okay. Questions on just kind of, again, this is very basic. You might use this, you might not, but it's just to make you aware. And what's going to be fun once you take this class is when you receive mail now, I don't know, Edison or something that comes in the mail still, it's not always by email. If you get paper documents, start to look at it now to see, you know, how it's set up. Some of the bills I have to pay, it comes through my email, but it's still an attachment, like a PDF that I have to open. And it's interesting to see if they follow this format. Okay. Oh, let me check chat. I thought the signature goes before the typing the writers. No, usually, James, like even in the olden days when we used typewriters, you type the name. Oh, yeah. We used to do sincerely, sign it, and then type the name. We don't have to do it that way anymore. Good. Wow, brought me back to those days. So here's another letterhead sample for you. And look at this. Does anybody know what that is? It's an envelope. It's an envelope. Unbelievable. We actually still mail things nowadays. I promise I am not making this up. I have had students that have never used a stamp before because everything's been done through email, and they've never had to send something with a stamp on it. So I say that as a joke, but when we receive mail, obviously we've all received something in our mailbox. It's in an envelope. They don't just, the letter isn't in there on their own, but you might have to, send out a letter to somebody, and you'd have to actually type up the envelope as well, right? So oh, thanks, Karen. I really am interested about the faithfully, because Tatovic also, I'm sorry, Carl, wasn't Karen. That's really interesting. If you look at his complimentary closing examples, and Tatovic had talked about faithfully. And I think that's so interesting for work. Like I wouldn't use that.
That comes to mind like Africa. We have some
Ah.
very unusual, because it may not be their first language per se, but or it's like a sort of a archaic British English, maybe.
Yeah, interesting. I like that. Very interesting. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing that. Here again, sample letterhead. And usually the letters come with matching envelopes. So again, you're not having to type in your company's address. And this can all be done through your printer. You know, you've probably never noticed this before, but your printer has settings on it. If you're going to type up an envelope, Microsoft Word has settings in there. If you're going to use type up a envelope versus a letter. So all of our, even though we're not, you know, using a typewriter anymore, all of our programs allow you to adjust to what you're using. So, okay, just a couple more samples for you. Again, how do you learn? You kind of look at these things, especially if you've never seen these before. So again, the letter head, it's called the head. It's usually at the top. Once in a while, I see it at the bottom of the stationery, but it's usually at the top. Your date goes first, your inside address, who it's going to. And when you start the salutation, right, that comes under the inside address, and it's usually dear. And again, if I had this person's first name, I would probably just say dear first name, last name, instead of Mr. or Ms., just because we have to be kind of, we have to be careful nowadays and respectful. Any questions? Because you're all going to have to practice this. All right. By the way, why do we call it a salutation? Anybody know where don't look it up, just off the top of your head. Anybody know salutation?
Well, that's a synonym for greeting.
It
Greeting,
is.
yeah.
It's a greeting.
It's a France word, salute.
Yes,
salute.
yes.
So salute,
Salut,
exactly.
salut.
Yeah, it's a like salute, like you're saluting somebody is where it actually comes from. But yeah, so just a little bit of history for you. Okay, and again, you know, this I didn't talk about on Monday. It was in our PowerPoint, I think, but you want to make sure everything is spelled correctly. Do you know that our favorite word is our name? And when your name is spelled incorrectly, it doesn't feel good, right? So it's you want to make sure that if you are sending something formal like this, everything is spelled correctly. Verify that person's name. Yeah, I cannot tell you. I'm going to put this in chat. This is what I get all the time. Sydney instead of Cindy. So it's really important to spell people's names correctly. Yes, Andrea.
Teacher, what I feel saying for me is my first name is not common, and always in Spanish is easy to pronounce and to read in good, and in my appointments, and a lot of people, I can say almost 80 or 90% pronounce my name bad, and for me it's not good.
It doesn't feel good.
No, for me all the times, or if for me the people don't read good because it's an easy name to pronounce, and in some cases when I prefer not to attend when someone said Marina, Mariana, not my real name. If I'm not interested in the message, I prefer to stay and the other person realize that is not my name. For me, it's not a good that.
Yeah, it's not a good,
Yes.
and in writing too, you know, if they spell it
Yes.
incorrectly.
Yes.
Now, here's what's so interesting, because you mentioned, you know, in your country, for those of you, you know, your name might be easy to pronounce in your country, like people are used to the name. But when you come, you know, to other countries, your names are not as common. So that's why sometimes it's a little bit hard. So what I would do is just, you know, you can correct the person if they don't ask, you know, for example, when I meet people, I'll ask, you know, am I saying this correctly? You know, let me know. But you can also correct them, you know, if they say, hey, Mariana, and you say, oh no, my name is right. You can actually pronounce it the right way, because I don't think they're trying to be rude. It's just, believe it or not, names are hard for us if it's not familiar, like I'm going to use Carl, right? Carl, I'm used to that name. Cindy, very easy name in the United States. Karen, very easy name in the United States. So we're used to these, John, Mary, that type of thing, where when we do get names, it's hard, and so we try, I think people try to be respectful, but you can also correct them in a very nice way, oh, I know my name might be interesting to you. It's pronounced this way. Maybe that's a way to do it. Yeah. Carl, I see your hand.
Yes, in my case, for whatever reason, people tend to assume my name's with the C. And so a way for them to remember sometimes, as I say, it's Carl with a K, and then it's like a light goes off. They're like, oh, Carl with a K, and then it helps them remember.
Yeah.
But in the case of what Andrea's saying, sometimes that's phonetically difficult. So if you can suggest a rhyming word in English, it helps them remember. It gives them a latch on word for their brain, I guess.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that they can relate to.
Yeah, it's hard. And like you just wrote it. Thanks, Carl, for that. And Andrea, what you wrote in the chat, it's true. Like names that are, when you came here to the United States, it's new for you. Like you're like, how do you say that? How do you say that? I'm going to use Angane as an example. She can't speak today, but when she joined my last class, I'm like, is it Angine? Like, to me, English, I'm thinking Angie, right? A-N-G is how I'm going to say that. So I'm going to say Angine. And she's like, no, it's Angane. And I had to write it down. I had to actually write it and practice it so that I could be respectful, in the classroom. But in her culture, maybe where she's from, it's a very common name and people know how to say it, right? So it really, it's interesting. But when we're spelling it, we have the ability to check it, right? So I can, if I'm going to send this letter to Pamela Fox Mayer, by the way, that should probably be a hyphen, but anyway, that I'd want to make sure that I go to whatever sheet I'm looking at or directory that I'm looking at to make sure it's correct. Because if someone says send a letter to Carl so-and-so, and I put a C instead of a K, that's not nice. So I have to make sure, is the name spelled with a K or C? That's up to me, to make sure the spelling's correct. Even if I can't say it, I'm going to try to spell it correctly. Yeah. By the way, any idea what DS means? For my keyboarding students in here? Double space. Double space would be DS. And then QS, quadruple, right? So 2 spaces, 4 spaces. So if you see that on the slides, or some of you might be familiar with if you're taking our keyboarding classes. So here's our greeting, right? Recipient's name, title. Punctuation is very interesting here. So there is usually a colon after the dear so-and-so. So if you took my other class, when we did cover letters, we had a colon, we didn't have a comma. Now on this slide, it says you could have no mark. If you don't want to have one, that's fine. But I generally see the colon after the salutation. Okay, your choice. Either one is correct. Yeah, Carl.
Do you know why a colon is traditional in a business letter? I've always wondered, because in a personal letter you use the comma.
You do, exactly. And I don't know the history there. I'd have to look it up for you. But when it's a formal letter, we've never used a comma. It's always a colon. But you're right. If I'm sending, if I want to thank you're my friend, I want to thank you for something, dear Carl, comma, and then I send a more familiar greeting. Yeah, good question. I can look it up. Oh, let me check the chat. There might be a question. Oh, that's interesting, James. Yeah. You guys want me to look it up for you and share it with you on Monday? Let me write a little note to myself so I don't forget. Sorry, my cat is behind me. I can feel it. It doesn't, it's not saying, Cindy, I love you. It's saying, Cindy, I need to eat. Comma for familiar. Cats are very different than dogs. If you have a cat or dog at home, dogs like truly love you no matter, you know, cats are like, I'm going to pretend I love you just so you feed me. So let me out of there. There we go. All right. Good question. Let me check chat again. Next class. Yeah, I will.
Professor, how to know the dog is true love or just pretend to love?
Will you ask the question again?
You mentioned the dog is true love instead of just love to eat for
Is
feed,
it true?
right?
Yes. Cats. Do you have a pet? Is it Tan or Gian? How do you pronounce? What's your
Call me Tan or call me J10 or whatever you like to.
Tan? What is do you have a cat or dog at home?
No, I don't have it.
Yeah.
Pet is not allowed it.
Oh, got it. Dogs traditionally, they're very loving and responsive, you know, no matter they're just always very happy. It's genuine. Cats have a little bit of an attitude, right? So sometimes they own, not all of them. Sometimes they show affection when they want something. So if they want to eat, whereas a dog, I can just look at. So by the way, I have 2 dogs and 6 cats.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So dogs, if I just make eye contact with my dog, they're like, oh, hi, hi. And if it's a cat, they ignore me unless, you know, they want some food. So good question. And welcome to class, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, let me check the chat again. Cindy's cat, don't forget me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, I'm here. I know you're doing something, but I'm right here. Don't forget I live here. All right, here's another greeting. Now, this is interesting, Carl, because your question was, you know, if you know somebody, it's usually a comma. In a business, I've done business letters before where I've used the person's first name. And I think I still use a comma. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, again, these are just examples of your greeting. So when you do these assignments in Canvas, you're going to follow the more formal instead of using a comma. So use professional personal titles, unless of course you don't know what they prefer. It's always like a dear, like I mentioned, right? We don't ever say, dear ladies and gentlemen, or to whom it may concern. This is outdated. I still, in my role of human resources, I still get letters that say, dear, to whom it may concern. Not appropriate, right? That's not how we do letters anymore. So avoid ladies, gentlemen, and to whom it may concern. Questions? Yeah, go ahead, Carl.
With that in mind, if to whom it may concern is out of date, if you do not know, you're writing a general letter to a business, how do you approach without knowing a name?
Good question. That's a good question. So you would use a title. So dear sales manager, dear human resources representative, dear. So you kind of go towards the marketing director or marketing representative. So whoever you're, like the area that you're trying to get their attention, that's how you would do it. So that's a great question. It was just on the next slide. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
really
another
good.
example, a thing I can think of, like say you're writing a letter to an airline, you had a problem with the flight and you write a business letter. How about in that kind of case?
Dear, like customer service, are you filing a complaint type of thing?
Probably, I would think that'd be the main reason you would. Very rarely do people write an airline to thank them for the great service nowadays, but yeah, probably.
Dear Southwest or dear Alaska Airlines, thank you for making sure the door didn't fly off during my last trip, right? I agree. So yeah, probably customer service or member services. I don't think there's a department called complaint department, but that's how you would do it. And Nazelle, yes, on cover letters, that's how we do it. If we don't know the person's name that it's going to, it's usually going to human resources, dear human resources, or dear hiring manager. That's because you never know who's going to, maybe they don't have an HR department. James, I see your hand.
Yeah, in this case where you're sending it to just the title, you don't know the person's name. Is that title capitalized? So like sales manager, is it the S is
Yes.
capitalized, the M is
Yep.
capitalized? Okay.
Yeah, very good. It is capitalized. So you're going to capitalize titles and departments and things like that.
All right.
Oh, I love the questions in this class. I really do. So thank you. Okay, and then there's a little note about the gender neutral. So we have to be really, really careful there. Okay. Letter parts. And here's your DS and your QS again. Oh yeah, Varditer, go ahead.
Sorry, if you are writing a letter and I don't know who is it going to read, can I write dear reader or something like that?
Well, you should. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because does anybody watch Bridgerton? Nobody watches Bridgerton. Okay, that's how they start. They'll say, "Dear reader." No, you would actually put a department because you're going to send it to somebody, right? You're going to send it to a specific department. So it's not just whoever is going to read it. Your letter has to be specific to somebody. To an area, right? If I'm complaining, if I'm thanking, if I'm requesting information, it's got to be a certain department that it's going to. Otherwise, it's going to get lost.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can, if you have an example for me, I can help clarify for you, Varditer.
I don't remember. Recently, I was writing a letter to a school, but it wasn't school, for my daughter's summer camp.
Ah,
And I don't remember which department is it. It's not a school. It's not a.
you could do, would it be a counselor, like dear camp counselor?
It wasn't a camp. I can find that
Oh,
email and
okay.
check.
Yeah, no, I'm just very curious. I'm very curious because obviously you wrote it for a reason, so it had to go to a certain area. So it's usually an area that it goes to. But you know how this conversation started, we want to make sure we're not just saying to whom it may concern or ladies and gentlemen or dear reader. It's got to be a little bit more specific.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Carl.
I was going to add, I guess the goal is to get the letter in the hand of the right individual, whether you know the name or not.
Right. So if I'm sending, exactly, Carl, if I'm sending a check, right, it's going to go to the accounts receivables, right? I have to be very specific at which department. I'm not going to send it to whoever because they might not get my check. So when I address my letter. Yeah, Anna, go ahead.
No, sorry, can I mention the name or title? For example, if I read to my daughter's camp, and I don't know who received this message, but I know they sent me, you can write a mail here, and okay, hello, I just wanna let you know, and that's all. It's okay?
So are you saying is it a letter or an email?
Email, not a letter, email.
Oh, yes. That's complete. Email is less formal. So you don't want to say hello. You still have to say dear somebody if you don't know them. but you would say, so if you got something from the camp and an email and it says respond, did it have the person's name?
No, but just I have address when can I send this email, but it's without name.
Oh, because usually,
I'm so sorry. May I say something?
sure.
Sometimes we can just say team, dear camp team, for example, or representative, dear camp representative, and that's just makes enough for salutation.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Ani. So, dear team or dear, yeah, exactly. That's fine if you don't have some kind of idea of who it's going to. Usually when someone provides their email address to you, they're actually saying, send emails to so-and-so at, and then they give the email address. So I'm surprised they didn't have a name there.
Thank you so much, because when we started talking about this, I okay, oh my goodness, sometimes I mention this.
You just say hi?
Yes, I just say hi, and I want to let you know.
I
So-
love it. I love it. Yeah,
so-
it's still, it's email, so it's going to get to the right person. I think with letters, because you're sending letters by email sometimes as well, but you want to make sure that the right person is reading it and receiving it. Yeah, very interesting.
Sorry, I just found that email. It was addressed to Childcare Glendale Unified School District, and I found what I wrote. I started my letter with dear sir or madam.
Dear what? Father or
Sir,
mother?
No, sir, madam.
Oh, sir, madame. No. So Vardater, and I'm sorry, I apologize for those of you that have been in my other class, because I actually talk about this. Sir, so we don't use sir or madam. It's older, like this, ladies and gentlemen, to whom it may concern. And madame can have a different connotation now. It's
Yes, married woman. Maybe I should write mother.
no, Vardater, prostitute, not married
Oh.
woman, prostitute. It's not a polite. Yeah, they run like prostitute houses, the madame of the house, right? And so she would have prostitutes and men come.
But
Yeah.
it's normal, married
Yes,
woman.
it is. It is normal. And I will tell you, even here in the United States, we used to use it. We used to use ladies and gentlemen, sir, madam. It was professional, it was polite and respectful. The term changed through the years and it's really outdated, so we don't use it. So in this case, I would say, dear school district.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah.
information.
Sure. Yeah, don't ever use that.
I also hate when people tell me ma'am.
Oh, I do too. It's the worst. It's such a
old.
I feel very old as well. I feel old as well. So sir and ma'am, so not even madame, but ma'am. So sir and ma'am, again, where do you live in the United States? In the South, very polite. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. In the military, required. Sir, ma'am. In your everyday life, a woman is not called a ma'am until they hit a certain age. If I'm 20, no one's going to refer to me as ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. But once you hit a certain age, they're like, hello, ma'am, right? And you're like, don't call me that. Don't call me ma'am ever, ever, ever. So other countries as well, sometimes when I have to call customer service, it's outside the country, they're using ma'am, as a polite thing. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. Yeah, Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know the age range in this class, but just this is somewhat humorous, but the standard used to be for a business letter, dear sirs, : it never was dear Nadam or woman, it was assumed that it was a man.
Yeah.
And then that changed
Yes.
probably even into the early 2000s. Some people
Wow.
used it, but definitely sometime in the 90s, I think that changed.
Yeah, I agree. It was before 2000, but everything just used to go to sirs. So and then they're like, wait, a female can be a manager, a female can work in human resources, whoever it can run a department. So yeah, that's also outdated. And only because I do receive so many cover letters every week, I still see dear sirs. I still see dear gentlemen. Number one, I know that the person's really old if they're going to use that. Number two, it's so insulting. I wouldn't call them for an interview. Yeah. Angane, go ahead.
I don't do you know mullahs who is ruling the Iran right now?
Mm-hmm.
So in Iran, they call their wives Haj Khanum, which the Christians doesn't have that. And
Okay.
most Persians, when see a lady, they said
Yes.
Haj Khanum. And most of the time they told my mom Haj Khanum, and my mom got angry and said that Haj Khanum is your mother, not me. I'm not Haj Khanum.
I love it. Exactly. If they say ma'am, it's like I'm turning around going, who are you talking to? Right? Yeah. I love it. I love it. And James,
I just remembered, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Vardater. Go ahead.
I just remembered in my culture, in my country, there were salespeople. They used to tell young ladies morkur as auntie. It's very insulting.
Interesting. Very interesting.
They
Yes.
think that they are close to you. They want to be close to you. They call you aunt.
Yes. Oh
It's,
my gosh.
I hate it.
Yeah, very, very creepy. Yes, yes. And then let me go, James, I missed your comment. It said, should I write department name, representative or manager to unknown names? Yeah, you could write to a department. You could say, dear customer service department, or just dear customer service. You could use representative or manager. It depends whose attention you want to get, right? So did I answer, James, what you were asking? Sorry.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
want to
very
make sure I understand it. But yeah, again, all of these cultural differences. So, okay, let's go through a few things. Again, the double space, quadruple space. I'm not spending so much time on these slides that will show you the spacing. It's more for you to just be aware of what the spacing is. Okay, it's not like you have to memorize all this. This is just a nice reference for you. Okay, so the letter parts. And then your closing. So this is where you want to use sincerely, probably, unless the company tells you differently, and your name. Okay. And again, long time ago, when we didn't have computers, we were leaving lots of space between sincerely and your type name, so you could actually put a signature on there. Now we've closed that up quite a bit. There we go. Oh, here you go, James. The signature is above the typed name. All right. I'm going to show you all these in a second. Okay. So give me a second. I want to make sure there's nothing else on the PowerPoint that I want to cover. This shows you how to do it in Microsoft Word. If you want to stretch like the squirrel, you can. I do not have a pet squirrel, but yeah, there we go. Ah, I love it. I love it. And I'm looking at time because I want to make sure I get to your assignment so you know what you're doing. Okay. The last thing I'll cover on the PowerPoint, and then I'm going to jump into Canvas to show you the different assignments that you have and kind of putting this all together. So there is something called a block format and then a modified block. We no longer indent paragraphs. That's an old way of writing, where you indent when you start a paragraph. Everything's in a block format now, okay? And I did teach this with cover letters, everyone, but a block format is set up like this. Everything is aligned to the left, right? So here's your spacing information here. There's 4 spaces. You put who it's going to. Ooh, this is really old. Don't use a miss, M-I-S-S. It's M-S. Wow. I'm gonna let Rosemary know. She needs to update her slides. And then your double space in between your paragraphs. Okay, so it's just a block, right? It's a block format. Paragraphs are short. You don't want to write a letter with this long paragraph. You all know this. When you start reading something that's too long, you stop reading it. You're not going to pay attention anymore. Everything just kind of flows together. Our brains need white space. We need space in between to give our gray matter a break, know what's coming next. So we break this up a little bit. When you have a modified, let me check the chat. Yes. No, it's also for cover letters. And I'm sorry, Nazeli. Yeah, because I apologize. There are a few of you who have not been in that class, so I'm not trying to be rude. Yes, it's a cover letter format. So it would be block format. This is modified only. Do you see where the date, the return address is over to the right now, and they're signing it in the center instead of to the left. So the bodies is still written in block, but we change it down here a little bit. Okay, so that's the only difference. I don't see this too often, but again, your company might have this requirement. I know in law firms, there's a certain writing style. And so, that might be a modified block letter. Okay. Let me scroll through this really quick. Make sure there's nothing I'm leaving out. Nope, we're good. I want to show you the samples because or your assignments. That's going to be most useful to you. So these PowerPoints are for resources, everyone, right? It's just to give you a really big, a breakdown, to be very specific. Hold on, let me close this, go to Canvas. All right, because I want to make sure you're all good with what you have to do. All right, so this was the memo. We're done with that. We're done with that. Don't worry about any of these. All right, so for your these are little assignments, right? It says due in class. It's not, because everybody can't open their Canvas right now. This is asking you to download this document. It's a letterhead document, and then you're going to type up this information. This is just the greeting. I'm sorry, not the greeting, the beginning of your letter, the date, who it's going to, who's receiving this letter. So this is a practice assignment. You're taking this paragraph. This is who it's going to, Lauren Wolf. You can change the date if you want, and you put this letter together. By the way, let me do a new share and see if my Word documents are in here. Yeah, here's one. These are most of your documents when you download, when you open up the attachments. This is what you're typing in. It's called Centerbox Digitized Corporation. Okay, so that's what when I hit that link and download, that's what I'm seeing. So let me go back. Okay, it looks like there's a lot of assignments. They're very short. So one submission is just who it's going to. Now that we've learned how to set up a letter. The second thing that you do is, oh, nope. Coming back to that, sorry. Second thing that you're going to do is, I need a cup of coffee. Give me one more second. Here we go. Come on, Cindy. Now, okay, the second thing you're going to do
Me
is,
too.
yeah, exactly. So my brain is not working. Is set up a sample block letter, a sample modified block letter, right? Again, you're downloading this and you're just using this information again, right? So I'm giving you the information, you're just reformatting it. So these are short. It looks like there's a lot of assignments, everyone, but they're really short. Okay, so you'll be able to do that one. This one, again, is a letter formatting activity. It gives you all of the information. It gives you the address, what you need to say. And that was it. So there's these little assignments. Let me go to course modules so you can see this in a different way. All you're going to do is this quick assignment, this quick assignment, this quick assignment, and this quick assignment. Okay, so they're short. I think one of these, before I check the chat, I need to see if I want you. I don't want to stick this on you. I want us to do it as a class. I'll remove anything that I think needs to be done as a class. Okay, and we'll cover that next Monday. Let me check the chat real quick. Yeah, Karen, exactly. And Carl, I know you're just meeting me, but I'm actually really together. For some reason, I just can't talk today. So I must be excited about the fireworks and hot dogs tomorrow or something. So, all right. Any questions on what your assignments are? And you know what? If you get stuck, just email me. Here's the inbox, right? So that's how you send me a little notation or send me a note and I will get back to you. Before you run, it's almost 10. I'm going to be very respectful of your time. There is something that we are going to do as a class just briefly, and you're going to answer verbally, right? So again, it's not graded, it's just us discussing. So let me stop share so I can get to the right document. It's really fun. Not really fun. It's making letters fun. We're trying to make letters fun. Yeah, our brains are just excited for tomorrow. Thank you. All right, let's do this quickly together. I'll keep my eye on the time. So here's a letter, right? And in column A, it's giving you information. So for letter A, it's who this is going to. Letter B, it's the date. Letter C, I'm sorry, this is the return address. Letter C, who it's going to, right? So it's giving you the different parts. When you come down to B, you have to say, okay, where is the author's name, right? So who is writing the letter? And we're going to do this as a group. Whoops. Is it A, B, C, D, E, la, 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 right? There's your choices. So who is writing this letter? Let's see how much you've learned. This is a letter, not a memo. You can put it in chat. You can raise your hand. Yeah, who did that? James. So who's the letter? Who's writing this? It's going to be who's signing it, right?
Marlene.
Yeah, Marlene. So if we come down here, we're going to put G, right? You're going to see this in Canvas. You don't have to do it. We're doing it together. Where is the body of the letter? What letter is the body of the letter? Is it A, B, C, D? What'd you say?
E.
E. Let me check chat. E. Excellent, excellent. So down here, I'm going to choose E. Groovy. Okay. Where's the inside address? Again, the inside address is who it's going to. Who's this going to?
Oh.
Teacher A. I don't know. A. No.
A is who it's coming from. It's this,
yeah, C.
yeah. So it's going to be C.
C.
Exactly.
C, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a little bit confusing. Where's the date?
B for boy.
B.
B. Okay, there we go. B. Salutation. We just talked about salutation. What letter?
D.
D.
No.
Yeah,
D,
no,
D.
D. Yeah, D.
D.
Dear owner.
Dear
This
owner.
one, dear owner. That's kind of funny. When you don't have a name, you just say dear owner. But yeah, dear, yeah, business owner, I would probably say. So you're gonna see this in Canvas. It's just kind of fun, right? Just showing you, just reminding you of where the different parts are. So you don't have to turn this in or anything. I just wanted to review it with you, so that you're familiar with the different parts, okay? So we just did the basics this week, everyone, of a letter and memo. And then next week we get into, you know, a little bit more detail, some fun stuff ahead. But I hope you learned something new, at least one thing new in your first 2 days. Yes? No? I know you did. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I got some of your stuff. So excellent, everyone. Please, Carl, if you don't mind hanging out for 1 second so I can go through Canvas with you. And the rest of you, you can either leave or stay in. I'm just going to go through Canvas since Carl's a little bit new to it and he's just joining our class, but everybody's welcome. Yes, James, at 7:15 or 7:30?
7:30.
Okay, perfect. Wednesday, not Monday, right?
Next Wednesday, yes.
Yeah, perfect. 7:30. You're in my calendar.
Thank
You're
you
very
much.
welcome. You're very welcome. So bye, everyone. Those that want to stay, you can
Bye.
stay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Let me stop recording.